Landon Hayes stared at the pregnancy test on their quartz kitchen counter, his hands trembling as he loosened his tie. "What do you mean you can't?" Mia Reynolds' voice cracked. She stood across from him, still in her ER scrubs, having rushed home from her residency shift to share what she thought would be joyful news. "The company's expanding. We're moving operations to New York next month." He wouldn't meet her eyes. "I was going to tell you over dinner." "So we'd move together," Mia said. "This is our baby." "There is no we in this decision," Landon said flatly. "The board's already approved the merger. I'm marrying Celeste Kim next month." The silence that followed felt like a punch to the chest. Mia gripped the counter to steady herself. "Celeste Kim, your investor's daughter? How long?" "It's not what you think. It's business. The merger needs." "Business?" Mia's laugh came out hollow. "I'm carrying your child, and you're telling me about business?" Landon reached for his briefcase. "You'll be taken care of. The penthouse is yours. I'll have my lawyers." "Your lawyers?" Mia stepped forward. "Look at me, Landon. Look me in the eye and tell me the last 3 years meant nothing." He finally met her gaze. What she saw chilled her more than his words ever could. Emptiness. The man she loved, the one who had proposed under the stars just 6 months ago, was gone. "I'm sorry," he said, but the words were mechanical. He walked to the door, paused without turning. "The accounts will be transferred by morning. Don't try to contact me." "Landon," her voice broke. The door clicked shut. Mia stood in the kitchen, the phantom beep of the pregnancy test's positive results still echoing in her mind. Her phone buzzed. A text from Chloe Kim, her fellow resident. How did he take the news? Another buzz, a news notification. Hayes Innovations announces merger with Kim Global. CEO Landon Hayes to wed Celeste Kim in private New York ceremony. The room spun. Mia rushed to the bathroom, barely making it before she vomited. As she knelt on the cold tile, her hand instinctively moved to her stomach. Her pager beeped. The hospital needed her. Emergency surgery. Mia pushed herself up, splashed water on her face, and stared at her reflection. She was Dr. Reynolds' first, abandoned fiancé second. Her patients needed her. She grabbed her keys, then paused at the kitchen counter. The pregnancy test still lay there. 2 pink lines, stark against the white plastic. Mia pocketed it, evidence of the moment her life changed, twice over. In the elevator, she typed a quick response to Chloe. "He's gone. I'll explain later. Heading to OR3 now." The doors opened to the lobby, and Mia stepped out, shoulders back, head high. She had 9 months to figure out how to be a single mother. But right now, she had a life to save. Her phone buzzed one last time. As she reached her car, a system notification popped up. "Your access to the following accounts has been terminated." Mia deleted it without reading further. She had 12 hours left in her shift, a surgery to perform, a future to rebuild. Landon Hayes had just made the biggest mistake of his life, but she didn't know it yet. Neither did he. The morning sun mocked Mia as she tried her debit card at the ATM for the 4th time. Account access denied. She leaned against the cool metal of the machine, exhaustion from her night shift mixing with rising panic. "Dr. Reynolds?" Chloe Kim appeared beside her, 2 coffee cups in hand. "You look like hell." Mia accepted the coffee mechanically. He cleaned out everything, joint savings, checking, even my personal account. Somehow, Chloe's perfectly manicured nails tightened around her cup. "That's illegal. He can't touch your personal." He did, and his name's on everything else. Mia pulled out her phone, showing Chloe the string of notifications. "The penthouse keys don't work either. I tried going home after my shift. Jesus." Chloe pulled her away from the ATM. "Where did you sleep?" "On-call room." Mia sipped the coffee and grimaced. "Morning sickness makes this taste like battery acid." "Stay with me," Chloe said instantly. "I've got a spare room since Tasha moved out." Mia's phone buzzed again. Landon's mother, Evelyn. She declined the call. "That's the 6th time she's tried to reach me." "Probably damage control," Chloe said. "Or maybe she didn't know." "Have you seen the news?" Mia shook her head. Chloe pulled up a business article on her phone. Hayes Innovations announces surprise merger. CEO Landon Hayes spotted in New York with fiancée Celeste Kim. The photo showed Landon in a crisp suit, Celeste's hand on his arm. They were leaving a restaurant. Landon's smile was practiced and polished. The timestamp? Mia noticed bitterly. This was taken 3 days ago. He'd already decided. The nurse rushed up to them. Dr. Reynolds, your patient from last night. The appendectomy. She's crashing. Mia handed her coffee back to Chloe and straightened her white coat. Page Dr. Patel for backup. I'll be there in 30 seconds. Mia? Later. Mia cut her off, already moving. Lives to save first, life to rebuild second. The emergency consumed the next 4 hours. When Mia finally emerged from the OR, a successful save under her belt, she had 7 missed calls from Damian Hayes and 1 text from an unknown number. Legal documents requiring your signature will arrive by courier this afternoon. She was reading it when Chloe found her again. You're moving in with me, Chloe announced. Already had my brother bring boxes to the apartment. We'll get your things after shift. Mia looked up, tears threatening. I can't. You can, and you will. Chloe's tone left no room for argument. Already mapped out 3 banks within walking distance of the hospital. We'll open you a new account during lunch. I've got power bars in my locker for the morning sickness, and my cousin's a lawyer who specializes in precisely this kind of mess. The tears spilled over. Don't you dare thank me, Chloe warned, pulling her into a hug. Just promise me something. Anything. When you're back on your feet, and you will be, we make him regret ever hearing the name Mia Reynolds. Mia's pager went off again. Another emergency. She wiped her eyes, squared her shoulders, and managed a small smile. Deal, she said, already walking backward toward the OR. But first, go save lives, Chloe finished. I'll handle the banks. As Mia scrubbed in for her second emergency of the day, she made a silent promise to her unborn child. Damian Hayes might have taken their past, but he wouldn't define their future. She had 9 months to become strong enough for both of them. The scrub nurse caught her eye through the window. Ready, Dr. Reynolds? Mia nodded. Hands raised, mind clear. Ready. 3 months into her pregnancy, Mia sat in Chloe's living room, staring at a glossy magazine cover. Landon and Celeste's wedding photos dominated the business section. Their New York ceremony, a perfect blend of Manhattan chic and modern tradition. Stop torturing yourself, Chloe said, snatching the magazine away. Focus on this instead. She slid a letter across the coffee table. Hospital letterhead gleamed under the lamplight. Regarding your research proposal on minimally invasive pediatric surgical techniques. Mia straightened. Full funding? You're now officially leading your own research team. Chloe grinned. While somebody was busy getting married in New York, somebody else was revolutionizing pediatric surgery. Mia's phone buzzed. Damian Hayes again. After dozens of ignored calls, she'd taken to sending texts. Please let me help. This isn't what I wanted for you or my grandchild. Mia blocked the number. Your mother called the hospital again, Chloe mentioned carefully. She's still insisting you move back to Boston. Not happening, Mia muttered. She'd gotten used to these weekly envelopes, each more complex than the last. Her new lawyer, Chloe's cousin Marcus, reviewed every one. Standard NDA, he'd explained about the first batch. He's buying your silence about the pregnancy. He can't, Mia had replied. No, he can't, Marcus had agreed. But accepting these funds while refusing to sign gives us leverage. Mia took the new envelope from Chloe. Speaking of leverage, she said, pulling out her laptop and opening a financial tracking program Marcus had set up. Small investments, careful planning, all perfectly legal. How close? Chloe asked. 3 more years, Mia calculated. By then, I'll own enough shares to matter. He'll never see it coming. Mia's hand rested on her belly as the baby kicked. No, he won't. Her pager buzzed. Emergency consultation needed in pediatrics. Duty calls, she said, rising carefully. Chloe called out as she reached the door. The nurses are organizing a baby shower next week. Just small, just hospital staff. Mia paused, throat tight. Thank you. We're your family now, Chloe said simply. All of us. As Mia drove to the hospital, she passed a billboard featuring Hayes Innovations' new Manhattan headquarters. Landon's face smiled down at the city. The slogan beneath read, Building the Future. Yes, Mia whispered to her unborn child, but not the future he expects. Her phone lit up with a hospital update. Critically ill child incoming, emergency surgery likely. Mia shifted gears, her mind already moving to the case ahead. Let Landon build his empire of silicon and circuits. She thought, I'm building something stronger, a future made of determination, skill, and the quiet strength of proving everyone wrong. The baby kicked again as she parked at the hospital. Message received, little one, she smiled. Let's go save some lives, Dr. Reynolds. Your BP is rising, Dr. Vargas warned, glancing at the monitor. We need to. I know exactly what my BP is doing, Mia snapped, hands deep in a patient's chest cavity. And I'm not leaving this OR until this child's heart is beating properly. She was 39 weeks pregnant, technically on maternity leave, but had come in for a consultation when the emergency case arrived. A 6-year-old with a rare cardiac condition. Mia, let me take over, Chloe spoke from the other side of the operating table. Almost done, Mia insisted. Her surgical precision was unwavering, despite the contraction that ripped through her. Just need to, there. Watch the monitors. The heart rate stabilized. Normal sinus rhythm returned. Patient stable, the anesthesiologist confirmed. Mia stepped back, pulling her hands out. Close for me. She looked at Chloe. I think I'm in labor. What followed was a blur of motion. Someone helped her onto a gurney. Her scrubs were replaced with a hospital gown. Through it all, Mia kept asking about her patient's status. The child's fine, Chloe assured her. Now focus on your own kid, for once. 14 hours later, Noah Landon Reynolds came into the world, screaming with healthy lungs and a full head of dark hair. He looks like him, Mia whispered, holding her son for the first time. He looks like you, Chloe corrected firmly. Strong, stubborn, already proving people wrong by arriving during surgery. A knock at the door made them both tense, but it was just a nurse holding a massive flower arrangement. These came for you, Dr. Reynolds. The card read simply, Congratulations, Evelyn Hayes. How did she? Mia began. Hospital gossip. Chloe sighed. Want me to throw them out? Mia stared at the flowers, then at her son. No, put them by the window. She's his grandmother, whatever else she might be. Another knock. Dr. Vargas entered. Your patient from earlier? Perfect recovery. The parents are asking about you. Tell them Dr. Reynolds is recovering from saving their child while giving birth to her own, Chloe announced proudly. Mia barely heard them. She was lost in Noah's face, memorizing every detail. He had Landon's chin, but her eyes, his hands were so tiny, yet his grip on her finger was strong. Hello, Noah, she whispered. We're gonna be okay. Her phone lit up on the bedside table. A news alert. Hayes Innovations opens Manhattan headquarters. Mia looked at the flowers by the window, then back at her son. Two paths diverged in this hospital room, one leading to bitterness, the other to strength. Dr. Reynolds? A resident poked his head in. Sorry to disturb you, but could you consult on? She literally just gave birth, Chloe cut in, incredulous. Mia laughed, surprising even herself. It's okay. Tell me about the case. As she listened to the resident's description, Noah still cradled in her arms, Mia felt something settle inside her. This was who she was. A doctor, a mother, a survivor. Start the workup, she instructed. I'll review the files tomorrow. Tomorrow? Chloe exclaimed. Mia, you can't. Watch me. Mia adjusted Noah in her arms. We'll do rounds from the wheelchair if we have to, right, little one? Noah yawned in response, and for the first time since Landon left, Mia felt completely, absolutely certain they were going to be more than okay. They were going to be extraordinary. Mommy, look. 2-year-old Noah held up his completed puzzle, beaming with pride. The 48-piece dinosaur set had taken him less than 10 minutes. That's amazing, sweetheart. Mia called from her home office, reviewing surgical notes. Why don't you try the 100-piece one next? Chloe, lounging on the office couch with medical journals spread around her, raised an eyebrow. You know most 2-year-olds are still figuring out shape sorters, right? Most 2-year-olds aren't, Noah, Mia replied, highlighting a section in her notes. Her upcoming presentation on a new surgical technique was garnering international attention. The TV in the background suddenly caught their attention. Hayes Innovations stock plummets amid divorce rumors. Sources confirm CEO Landon Hayes and wife Celeste Kim Hayes have separated. Chloe muted it quickly, but Mia had already stiffened. It's fine, she said before Chloe could speak. I heard about it. Last week, Chloe added. Evelyn called. You're taking her calls now? Mia shrugged. She sends Noah books, educational ones. Chloe sat up straighter. The shares? 15%, Mia confirmed quietly. Another year. Maybe 2. Noah appeared in the doorway, clutching the 100-piece puzzle. Help Mommy take a break, Chloe urged. The presentation can wait. Mia checked her watch. She had 3 hours before her next surgery. Okay, buddy. Show me what you've got. As they spread the pieces across the living room floor, Mia's phone buzzed. A message from Johns Hopkins. They wanted her to present her surgical technique at their annual conference. Incoming, Noah announced, dropping a puzzle piece on her head and giggling. Mia caught him in a hug, breathing in his baby shampoo scent. What do you say we go to Baltimore, little man? Mommy has to give a big speech about fixing tiny hearts. Will we visit the aquarium after? Noah asked. Chloe watched from the office doorway. The conference is next month. Isn't that when Landon's receiving his innovation award? Yes, Mia said, keeping her voice neutral. Baltimore's a big city, Noah added suddenly, making both women freeze. He pointed to the muted TV, where Landon's photo was still displayed. Like my picture? Mia's heart clenched. Noah had Landon's official company photo tucked into his favorite book. He'd found it online himself. His technological aptitude was already apparent. Yes, buddy, she managed. Like your picture. Noah nodded thoughtfully, then returned to his puzzle. Need more blue pieces. Chloe moved to unmute the TV. I'm sure she can. The Henderson Children's Hospital Annual Gala welcomes Dr. Mia Reynolds, pioneering pediatric surgeon and recipient of this year's Medical Innovation Award. Mia adjusted her emerald evening gown. Noah's small hand was warm in hers as they walked the red carpet. At 3 years old, he was already turning heads in his miniature tuxedo. Ready, buddy? She whispered. Ready, Dr. Mommy, he replied seriously, making several nearby photographers coo. Chloe appeared beside them, resplendent in blue. They're ready for you backstage. I'll take Noah. No, Mia said firmly. He stays with me. The decision to have Noah present her award had raised eyebrows. But Mia was done hiding. Let the medical community see what success looked like. A single mother, a surgeon, and a child who was her greatest achievement. The ballroom buzzed with Seattle's elite. Mia guided Noah toward the stage, nodding at colleagues. Then she saw him. Damian Hayes stood near the bar, older but unmistakable. His presence shouldn't have surprised her. Hayes Innovations was a major donor. Their eyes met across the room. Dr. Reynolds, an organizer, appeared. You're on in 5. Mia broke the gaze first, kneeling to Noah's level. Remember what we practiced? He nodded solemnly. Hand you the special doctor prize and say, congratulations. Perfect. She kissed his forehead, aware of Landon's stare burning into them. The introduction began. Mia took the stage, Noah matching her step for step. The spotlight caught them both as she began her speech. 3 years ago, I realized something about tiny hearts, she started, her voice clear and strong. They're remarkably resilient. They heal, they grow stronger, and sometimes they teach us more about courage than we could ever learn in medical school. Her new surgical technique had already saved hundreds of children. But as she spoke, she felt Landon's presence like a physical weight. He hadn't moved, hadn't approached, just watched. Watched as his son, a son he'd never met, helped present the award that would cement Mia's place in medical history. And so, she concluded, to all the tiny hearts I've helped heal, thank you. But the biggest thank you goes to my son, Noah, who taught me that the strongest hearts aren't always the ones we operate on. Noah stepped forward right on cue, holding the crystal award with careful hands. Congratulations, Dr. Mommy, he said into the microphone, drawing appreciative laughter from the crowd. The standing ovation was immediate. Mia held Noah close as cameras flashed, very deliberately, not looking toward the bar. Later, at their table, Chloe leaned over. He's gone. Left right after your speech? Mia nodded, watching Noah charm the hospital board with his detailed knowledge of heart chambers. Good, she said. He looked shocked, Chloe added, seeing Noah must have what? Mia's voice was ice. Reminded him what he walked away from. He made his choice. Noah ran back to their table. Mommy, Dr. Wilson says I can see the big machines tomorrow. Mia pulled him into her lap, breathing in his familiar scent. Did you thank him properly? Yes, and I asked about the echocardiogram, like you taught me. As Noah launched into a surprisingly accurate description of cardiac imaging, Mia caught sight of a familiar figure by the exit. Evelyn Hayes, elegant in silver, was watching them with tears in her eyes. Mia gave her the slightest nod. Evelyn returned it, then disappeared into the night. Mommy, Noah tugged her sleeve. Can we go see the fish tank again? Of course, baby. Mia stood, taking his hand. Let Landon run back to Manhattan, to his crumbling marriage and his soaring stocks. She had everything of value right here. Dr. Reynolds, a nurse hurried over. Emergency case incoming. We need you. Mia checked her watch, then looked at Chloe, who was already reaching for Noah. Go, Chloe said. We'll take care of the fish tank. Mia knelt to kiss Noah goodnight. Be good, okay? Good for Aunt Chloe. Save the tiny heart, Mommy, he replied, and Mia's own heart swelled with a love so fierce it almost hurt. This, she thought as she hurried toward the hospital wing. This was real success. And Landon Hayes had no idea what he'd lost. The surgical board buzzed with gossip the next morning. Hayes Innovations CEO leaves Gala early. Read the society page headline on someone's phone. Mia ignored it, focusing on her post-op notes. Last night's emergency surgery had been successful. Another tiny heart healed. Dr. Reynolds? A nurse approached hesitantly. There's a call for you from Manhattan. Not interested. Mia didn't look up. It's not him, the nurse said quietly. It's Celeste Kim Hayes. She says it's about your shares in the company. Mia paused. She'd been careful, using shell companies and Evelyn's guidance to acquire stock quietly. If Celeste knew. Take a message, Mia replied. She also mentioned something about Evelyn Hayes' condition. Mia's head snapped up. What condition? Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Chloe's voice came from behind. I just got the labs. She's being admitted here today. The pen snapped in Mia's hand. Blue ink stained her fingers. How long? Months, maybe weeks. Chloe handed her a tissue. She's requesting you as her doctor. Mia laughed hollowly. I'm pediatric surgery. She needs you, Chloe cut in, and you know why. Noah's weekly FaceTime sessions with his grandmother, the educational toys, the investment advice. Evelyn had been building bridges while her son burned them. Mia's phone buzzed. Another news alert. Hayes Innovations stock plunges amid leadership crisis. Dr. Reynolds? The nurse was still waiting. About Celeste's call? Tell her I'll call back, Mia said, standing and straightening her white coat. After I see Evelyn. Evelyn's private room was on the oncology floor. She looked smaller somehow, her usual elegance diminished by hospital sheets. I wondered who would tell you first, Evelyn said by way of greeting. Your daughter-in-law, surprisingly. Mia checked the monitors automatically. Though I suspect that call wasn't really about my shares. Clever girl, Evelyn smiled weakly. Celeste is preparing for divorce. She wants allies. And she thinks Mia stopped, the realization dawning. She wants to force Landon out. The board is split. Your shares could tip the balance. Evelyn reached for Mia's hand. But that's not why I'm here. I know. Mia squeezed her hand gently. Noah will want to see you. Landon doesn't know about any of it. Evelyn's eyes filled. The cancer. The divorce plans. The gifts for Noah. Do you want him to? What I want, Evelyn said carefully, is to see my grandson while I still can. The rest, she waved a frail hand. The rest is business. Mia's pager buzzed. Another emergency. Go, Evelyn said. But, Mia, she added, when Celeste calls again, listen carefully. Sometimes revenge and justice look remarkably similar. Mia paused at the door. I'll bring Noah after my surgery. Thank you. Evelyn's voice stopped her again. He has Landon's mind, you know, but your heart. She smiled faintly. Thank God for that. Mia hurried to the OR, her mind racing. Celeste Kim Hayes wanted an ally. Evelyn was dying. And somewhere in Manhattan, Landon Hayes was about to learn exactly how much he'd lost, in more ways than one. Her phone buzzed one last time before she scrubbed in. Celeste Kim Hayes files for divorce. Claims controlling interest in Hayes Innovations. Mia smiled slightly as she tied her surgical mask. The game was changing, and for once, she held all the cards. Allegations of fraudulent practices rock Hayes Innovations. The financial news droned in the hospital lounge. Mia watched as Landon's face flashed across the screen, looking haggard and stressed. Mommy, how's my math coming along? Noah proudly showed her the completed calculus problems. Work meant for students 4 times his age. Can we visit Grandma now? Before Mia could answer, Chloe burst into the lounge. You need to see this. She thrust her tablet forward, displaying an email from Celeste's lawyers. Our client seeks immediate discussion regarding your 18% holding in Hayes Innovations. 18%? Mia's eyebrows shot up. I only have 15. Evelyn transferred her shares to Noah yesterday, Chloe said softly. It's all legal. She had her lawyers do it before starting the new treatment. Mia's phone rang. Celeste again. She'd been calling daily. Take it, Chloe urged. It's time. Mia hesitated. She looked at Noah, who had returned to his workbook, humming softly as he solved equations that would baffle most adults. Stay with him, she told Chloe, then stepped out to take the call. Dr. Reynolds speaking. You've been avoiding me, doctor. Celeste's accent was crisp, her tone businesslike. We have matters to discuss, such as your son's newly acquired shares. Combined with your own holdings, you now control the largest single block of Hayes Innovations stock. Mia watched Noah through the lounge window. I'm aware. Landon doesn't know about the boy. Celeste's voice hardened. That could change. Be careful, Mia warned softly. Threats won't work. Not a threat, an opportunity. Celeste paused. Help me take control of the board, and Landon Hayes loses everything. Isn't that what you want? What I want, Mia said carefully, is to ensure my son's future. Then we understand each other. The board meets next week in Manhattan. Your presence would be influential. Mia's pager buzzed. Evelyn's monitors were showing complications. I'll consider it, she said quickly. I have to go. She rushed to Evelyn's room, finding Noah already there, holding his grandmother's hand as she slept. Her numbers dropped, Chloe reported quietly, but she stabilized. Mia checked the charts herself, doctor instincts warring with personal feelings. They want me in Manhattan, she said finally. Celeste is making her move. Go, Chloe said. I'll watch them both. Evelyn stirred, her eyes finding Mia. Manhattan? She asked weakly. Yes, Celeste called. Evelyn smiled faintly. It's time he learned. Learned what? Noah asked innocently. Evelyn squeezed his small hand. That the biggest mistakes in life come with the biggest prices. Mia's phone buzzed again. Her travel agent confirmed first-class tickets to Manhattan. As she watched Noah explain his calculations to his grandmother, she felt a cold certainty settle over her. Landon Hayes was about to discover that he hadn't just abandoned a son 3 years ago. He'd abandoned his entire future. The board of Hayes Innovations will now hear from Dr. Mia Reynolds, representing 18% controlling interest. The Manhattan boardroom fell silent as Mia stood. Landon, at the far end of the table, had gone pale at her entrance. Celeste sat between them, perfectly poised. Before I begin, Mia said calmly, I have something to share. She opened her laptop, connecting it to the room's display. A video began playing. Noah at his study desk, solving complex engineering problems while chatting with Evelyn. This is Noah Reynolds, Mia continued over the footage. Age 3, IQ tested at 164, my son. She paused, letting her words sink in. Our son, Landon. The boardroom erupted. Landon gripped the table, knuckles white. Mia's phone buzzed. A text from Chloe made her blood run cold. Evelyn's crashing. Get back now. I'll keep this brief, Mia addressed the chaos. I'm voting my shares, and my son's shares, in favor of Celeste Kim Hayes' restructuring proposal. Landon Hayes is hereby removed as CEO. She closed her laptop as protests filled the room. Landon hadn't moved, hadn't spoken. Dr. Reynolds, Celeste called as Mia headed for the door. We should discuss. My lawyer will handle everything, Mia said without slowing down. I have a patient waiting. She was on the first flight back to Seattle, but it wasn't fast enough. Evelyn passed an hour before she landed. Noah had held her hand until the end. She left this for you, Chloe said when Mia rushed in, handing her an envelope. Inside was a letter and a USB drive. Mia read it while Noah slept, exhausted from grief. Dearest Mia, by now the board meeting is over. I hope you showed them our boy's brilliant mind. It's my last gift to you. Proof that Landon threw away not just love, but legacy. The drive contains everything. Landon's original merger documents, the backdated marriage license with Celeste, and the irregular stock transfers. I've kept copies of everything since the day he left you. Use it wisely, not for revenge, but for Noah. He'll need protection from the storm coming to Hayes Innovations. Love him enough for all of us. Evelyn. Mia plugged in the drive, understanding dawning as she read. Landon hadn't just abandoned them. He'd committed corporate fraud to do it. The merger, the marriage, everything had been orchestrated months before she told him about the pregnancy. Her phone rang. Don't, Chloe warned. But Mia answered. Silence filled the line. Why? Landon finally asked. You lost the right to questions 3 years ago. Mia looked at Noah, sleeping peacefully. The company's Celeste's now. The truth is yours to deal with. Mia, please. Goodbye, Landon. She hung up, blocked his number one final time. Chloe touched her shoulder. What now? Mia looked at the medical journal on her desk, her latest surgical innovation on the cover. Bennett Noah. Brilliant. Beautiful. completely untouched by his father's shadow. Now, Mia smiled sadly, now we honor Evelyn's last wish. We keep building something better than he ever could. Her pager buzzed. Emergency surgery needed. The world kept turning. Tiny hearts still needed saving. And somewhere in Manhattan, Landon Hayes was finally learning the true cost of his choices. Your request for visitation rights has been denied. Mia read the court documents in her office. Noah's 4th birthday party invitation sat unopened beside them. 3 weeks had passed since Evelyn's funeral. Landon had flown in for it but stayed at the back of the church, leaving before Mia and Noah arrived at the reception. Her office phone lit up. Hayes Innovations bankruptcy proceedings begin. Dr. Reynolds, her assistant, poked her head in. Mr. Hayes is in the lobby. He's refusing to leave without seeing you. Mia closed her eyes briefly. Call security. He has papers, says they're from Evelyn. That made her pause. Give me 5 minutes. She found Landon by the hospital's fish tank, Noah's favorite spot. He looked destroyed, designer suit wrinkled, eyes hollow. Security is on their way, she said by way of greeting. I'll be brief. He held out a thick envelope. Mother left this for Noah. Her lawyers just released it. Mia took it carefully, maintaining distance. That's all. Celeste won. The company's finished. I'm finished. He laughed hollowly. Seems fair. Somehow, nothing about this is fair, Mia said, her voice steel. You made sure of that 3 years ago. I want to meet him. No, Mia said. He's not a company you can acquire. Landon didn't back down. He's a child. My child. The one you walked away from. Our child, he corrected quietly. Mia's laugh was bitter. You lost the right to that word the night you chose a merger over your family. The merger was wrong. Everything was wrong. He stepped closer. Let me try. Security's here. Mia nodded toward the approaching guards. Goodbye, Landon. Wait. He pulled out one more envelope. My letter to him, for when he's older, please. Mia took it, if only to make him leave faster. You should know, he's already surpassed your company's best engineers, at age 4. Pain flashed across Landon's face. Like father, Mia interrupted. Like mother, like son. I'm the one who stayed. She watched security escort him out, then turned and headed to her next surgery. The envelopes burned in her pocket, but they could wait. She had lives to save. Later that night, after Noah was asleep, Mia read both letters. Evelyn's was full of love, wisdom, and a trust fund that would ensure Noah's education. Landon's was full of excuses. She sealed them both in a new envelope, dating it for Noah's 18th birthday. Then she wrote her own letter, shorter but more honest. My dearest son, your father chose an empire of glass and silicon. I chose you. It was the easiest choice I've ever made. Love, Mom. Her phone buzzed. Breaking news. Hayes Innovations assets seized. Former CEO Landon Hayes under investigation. Mia turned off her phone and went to check on Noah. He slept peacefully, surrounded by books about cardiac surgery and advanced physics. Evelyn's last gifts, scattered among them. Some choices, Mia thought, watching her son breathe, echo forever. But sometimes, they echo in ways we never expect. She closed his door softly, leaving the past sealed in letters for another day. And the Pioneer in Pediatric Surgery Award goes to Dr. Mia Reynolds. The medical conference hall erupted in applause. Noah, now 6, sat in the front row, between Chloe and his favorite nurse, beaming, as his mother took the stage. 3 years ago, I stood at a different podium, Mia began, talking about tiny hearts. Today I want to talk about bigger ones, the ones that keep beating despite every obstacle. Her new surgical technique had become the global standard, saving thousands of children. But as she spoke, her eyes kept drifting back to Noah, who was practically vibrating with excitement, ready to share his own news. In the back of the hall, unnoticed, Landon Hayes slipped in. He looked different now. No designer suit. No corporate polish. The investigation had stripped him of everything. Mia concluded, to every parent who's trusted me with their child's heart, thank you. You've taught me that the strongest muscle isn't always the one we can see. Noah bounded up to the stage right on cue, presenting her with the award. But this time, he had his own announcement. My mommy fixes hearts, he declared into the microphone. And I'm going to help. I got accepted to the gifted medical program. The audience gasped. The program was for high school students. Noah was 6. Mia hugged him close, feeling tears prick her eyes. That's right, baby. We'll fix them together. Later at the reception, Chloe nudged her. He's gone again. Mia nodded, watching Noah explain cardiac anatomy to amazed medical students. Good, she said. Chloe handed her a newspaper clipping. Former tech CEO volunteers at children's hospitals in Asia. Mia tucked it away without comment. Let Landon find his redemption elsewhere. Her path, their path, was already set. Mommy, Noah called. The dean wants to know if I can start the program next month. Mia moved toward her son, leaving the clipping and its implications behind. They had tiny hearts to heal, and that was all that mattered. As they left the conference hall, Noah chattered excitedly about valve replacements and cardiac rhythms. Mia caught their reflection in a window. Mother and son, white coats matching, both ready to change the world in their own way. Some empires, she thought, are built of glass and steel, but the strongest ones are built on love. One beating heart at a time. The children's cardiac wing of Henderson Hospital bore a new name, the Damian Hayes Center for Pediatric Innovation. 9-year-old Noah adjusted his small lab coat, standing beside his mother as they unveiled the plaque. Dr. Noah Reynolds Hayes. Mia read the smaller nameplate beneath his research station, youngest certified medical researcher in U.S. history. Noah grinned, his father's dimples flashing, but his mother's determination shining in his eyes. Can we start the trials today? His pediatric heart valve design, sketched at age 7, refined at 8, and now ready for testing at 9, had already attracted international attention. The ceremony was small, just hospital staff and a few reporters. If anyone noticed Landon Hayes standing at the back of the crowd, they didn't mention it. He'd aged a decade in 3 years. His redemption tour through Asia's children's hospitals written in the lines of his face. And now, Mia addressed the gathering. My colleague, Dr. Noah Reynolds, would like to explain his breakthrough. Noah stepped forward confidently, launching into a detailed explanation that left seasoned cardiac surgeons blinking in amazement. Mia watched him, heart full. Her phone buzzed. Another award nomination. Another speaking invitation. She'd long since lost count. But those weren't her greatest achievements. Her greatest achievement was standing at the podium, revolutionizing cardiac care before he hit double digits, carrying his grandmother's compassion and his mother's determination in every word. As the crowd dispersed, Mia caught Landon lingering by the plaque. Their eyes met briefly across the room. No words needed to be exchanged. He nodded once, touched Evelyn's name on the plaque, and left. Ready for your first official case review? Mia asked Noah, who was already pulling up patient files on his tablet. Ready, Dr. Mon? He replied seriously, then broke into a grin. Race you to the conference room. Mia watched him run ahead, white coat flapping. 9 years ago, she'd stood in her kitchen holding a positive pregnancy test, feeling her world collapse. Now she stood in her hospital, watching that same world expand beyond her wildest dreams. You coming? Noah called back. Always, she answered, and followed her son toward their next miracle. Some choices echo forever, but sometimes those echoes turn into music.